Hello everyone! Welcome back. This is MCOM with another episode of our Dragon Age Origins Let's Play. Last time we left off, we had finished recruiting, we'd been ambushed by the assassin Zevran. Zevran? Uh-oh. Zevran, however you want to say it. And got back to camp, spoke with Leliana a little bit, who let us know that she was actually framed by Marjolaine, I believe it was. The bard Marjolaine, who tried to frame Leliana for some subterfuge in Orlais, which drove Leliana here to Ferelden. I ended up buying a couple things off camera from Bowden, and as well as selling some stuff, so our inventory is down to 46 out of 80 now. And you'll notice that Sten here is wearing some nice shiny new armor, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so we're back here in camp, and I'm going to see if there's anything interesting for some people to tell me. Ooh, that's different. I don't know who you are. Allied Supply Crate. Interesting. Let's talk to Zevran for a little bit.
Here I am.
Zevran. Care to answer some questions?
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
Tell me, what does it take to become an assassin?
Well, the Crows would have you believe that it is an involved process that takes years of training, the sort that tests both your resolve and your endurance. Survive that process and maybe, just maybe, you're good enough to start being considered one of them. But quite frankly, the truth is that all it requires is a desire to kill people for a living. It's surprising how well one can do in such a field.
So you have to be a murderer then?
Now, it need not be thought of so crudely. We all do our share of murdering around here, don't we? An assassin simply specializes in striking from stealth, and in maximizing that first attack to be as lethal as possible. Debilitate your foe, either by poison or by crippling their limbs, makes any follow-up combat you need to engage in that much simpler.
I suppose that could be, useful.
See? Getting paid for the act is beside the point. An assassin is more a tactical choice than a lifestyle. Of course, the Crows like to pretend that their abilities are trade secrets, shrouded in shadows and wrapped in a blanket of mystery. So let's just keep this between you and me, shall we?
Ooh, Zevran disapproves. Whoops. Yeah, he's starting out not too happy with us.
Here I am.
Zevran, can you teach others to be an assassin?
Oh, I certainly could, but I won't. I swore to the Crows that the things they taught me were to remain a secret. And while, yes, they are already angry at me, I'd rather not push things, you see.
Very well. I'll respect your word for now.
If you are truly insistent, well, let me think about it. The Crows are already angry at me, yes? Who knows?
Aha, he approves of that one.
Here I am.
Let's see. Care to answer some questions?
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
Why did you want to leave the Crows exactly?
Well now, I imagine that's a very fair question. Being an assassin, after all, is a living, at least as far as such things go. I was simply never given the opportunity to choose another way. So, if that choice presents itself, why should I not seize upon it?
So you're simply bored of assassin life.
I don't know that I would put it precisely that way. I was but a boy of 7 when I was purchased. For 3 sovereigns, I'm told. Which is a good price, considering I was all ribs and bone and didn't know the pommel of a dagger from the pointy end. The Crows buy all their assassins that way. Buy them young, raise them to know nothing else but murder. And if you do poorly in your training, you die.
That sounds awful.
Oh, I don't know about that. The Crows who are actually good enough to survive come to enjoy some of the benefits. In Antiva, being a Crow gets you respect. It gets you wealth. It gets you women. And men. Or whatever it is you might fancy. But that does not mean doing what is expected of you always. And it means being expendable. It's a cage, if a gilded cage. Pretty, but confining.
So what is it you fancy exactly?
I fancy many things. I fancy things that are beautiful and things that are strong. I fancy things that are dangerous and exciting. Would you be offended if I said I fancied you?
Oh my. No, but you needn't bother.
Ah, that's too bad. I do so enjoy it when I get to be flirty. As for what I'll do in the future, presuming that there is one, I truly can't imagine. It might be interesting to go into business for myself, for a change. Far away from Antiva, of course. For now, naturally, I go where you go.
Won't the crows eventually find you?
Eventually can be a very, very long time, if one plays one's cards right. Come now, enough chit-chat. Talking about the crows summons them, you know. Any Antivan fishwife could tell you so.
Oh, come on, he disapproves?
Here I am.
Alright, care to answer some questions?
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
Tell me a little about Antiva.
Oh, you wish to know about Antiva, do you? The only way to truly appreciate it would be to go there. It is a warm place, not cold and harsh like this Ferelden. In Antiva it rains often, but the flowers are always in bloom. Or so the saying goes.
And it has assassins.
Every land has its assassins. Some are simply more open about their business than others. I hail from the glorious Antiva city, home to the royal palace. It is a glittering gem amidst the sand, my Antiva city. Do you come from someplace comparable?
Well, I have to say, I'm from Orzammar, of course.
Ah, yes, the city of lava and stone. It too is beautiful, in its way. Sad that it will never see sunlight or smell the salt of the ocean, however. You know what is most odd? We speak of my homeland, and for all its wine and its dark-haired beauties and the lilo flutes of the minstrels, I miss the leather the most.
Is that some kind of euphemism?
It may as well be. But not this once, no. I mean the smell. For years, I lived in a tiny apartment near Antiva City's leather-making district, in a building where the crows stored their youngest recruits, packed in like crates. I grew accustomed to the stench, even though the humans complained of it constantly. To this day, the smell of fresh leather is what reminds me most of home, more than anything else.
You sound like you've been away from home forever.
Oh, not so long, I know. It is my first time away from Antiva, however, and the thought of never returning makes me think of it constantly. Before I left, I was tempted to spend what little coin I possessed on leather boots I spotted in a store window. Finest Antivan leather, perfect craftsmanship. Ah, but I was a fool to leave them. I thought, Zevran, you can buy them when you return as a reward for a job well done. More the fool I, no?
Well, your home is still there, Zevran.
True, and it's a comforting thought. One simply never knows what is to come next. How could I have suspected I would end up defeated by a handsome Grey Warden? A man who then spares my life? I could not.
Handsome?
Perhaps that was a poor choice of words. True, though it is. Do you object?
Not at all. Just unexpected.
And glad I am to hear it. Now, if it is all the same to you, I would prefer not to speak more of Antiva. It makes me wistful and hungry for a proper meal.
Okay. I think we're almost to the positive. Nope, still -1. Alright, Zevran, let's talk some more.
Here I am.
Let's see. Questions.
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
Let's see. What is your opinion of the Dalish?
I know little enough of the Dalish other than the fact that my mother was one, or so I was told. She had fallen in love with an elven woodcutter and accompanied him back to the city, leaving her clan behind for good. And there, of course, the woodcutter died of some filthy disease and my mother was forced into prostitution to pay off his debts. Oldest tale in the book.
Was the woodcutter your father?
How should I know? My mother was a whore, as you'll recall. None of the other elven boys in the whorehouse knew their fathers. I was not so unusual. I didn't know my mother either, of course. She died giving birth to me. My first victim, as it were. We were all raised communally by the whores. It was a happy enough existence, ignoring the occasional beating. Until eventually I was sold to the crows. I brought a good price, so I hear.
And yet you're artfully cheerful about it all.
It could have been much worse. Shall I tell you about what happened to the other whorehouse boys who did not fetch a decent price with the crows? Surely your life has not been so idyllic. People like you and I are not the product of happy lives of contentment, after all.
You can say that again.
My original point is that my mother's Dalish nature was always a point of fascination for me. Through all the years of my crow training, the one thing of my mother's that I possessed was a pair of gloves. They were of Dalish make, I knew that much, and beautiful. I had to keep them hidden, of course, as we were not allowed such things. Eventually, they were discovered, and I never saw them again.
But you don't think of yourself as Dalish.
Not at all. I think of myself as Antivan. Still, that did not stop me from running off to join a clan when I drew near Antiva City once. Naturally, the reality did not live up at all to the fantasies I had constructed as a boy, staring at those gloves. But such is life. Come, enough talk of the Dalish. Let us move on.
Okay. Well. With that knowledge, we have some Dalish gloves that we can gift to Zevran. Gift.
Gloves? You're giving me gloves? What for?
They're Dalish gloves. Like your mother's.
Maker's breath. You're right. It is like my mother's. The leather was less thick, and it had more embroidery, but these are very close, and quite handsome.
You're welcome.
Do I seem surprised? Perhaps I am. Still, I appreciate the fact that you even thought of me. No one has simply given me a gift before. Thank you.
Awesome. Zevran approves. Yes! He's a positive. Alright, what else do you have to say? No. What else do you have to say?
Here I am.
Okay, let's see. Answer some questions.
This should be good. Go ahead.
Zevran, do you actually enjoy being an assassin? Oops. Let's try actually asking him that question.
Oh, this should be. And why not? There are many things to enjoy about being a crow in Antiva. You are respected, you are feared. The authorities go out of their way to overlook your trespasses. Even the rewards are nothing to turn your nose up at. As for the killing part, well, some people simply need assassinating. Or do you disagree?
No, you're probably right.
I often find myself the instrument of fate, ending these lives for one necessity or another. I console myself with the notion that most of them had it coming. As far as enjoying the act of killing itself, why not? There is a certain artistry to the deed, the pleasure of sinking your blade into their flesh and knowing that their life is in your hands.
I take no pleasure in killing, personally.
It is not pleasure, per se, nothing sexual. It is more a sense of satisfaction, a feeling of power. Does that make sense? No matter. There are many things I did not enjoy about being a crow, of course. Having no choice, being treated as an expendable commodity, the rules. Oh, so many rules. But simply being an assassin, I like it just fine. I will continue to do it if I can, even if I am not a crow. Honestly, could you picture me doing something else?
Oh, why not? You can do whatever you like.
Whereas I am content merely doing what I happen to be good at. It's a talent that not many come by, honestly. I don't see why I need not pursue it. Of course, all these thoughts are moot. Chances are still good that you and I will perish, eaten by darkspawn or slain by the crows at some point. Very gruesomely, I imagine. But it is pleasant enough to chat about. Come, let's move on while our boots still have some wear in them.
Alrighty. Zevran approves a little bit.
Here I am.
Okay. Care to answer some questions?
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
Never mind. Let's just move on. Alright.
Here I am.
Now let's ask him something personal. I want to discuss something personal with you, Zevran.
Oh, this should be good. What would you like to discuss?
Never mind. Whoops. Yep, I guess we're done talking with Zevran for now. Alistair, been a little while.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something, Alistair.
Ask away.
Well, tell me about the Grey Wardens.
Such as they are.
I actually have no more questions.
About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need?
Well, I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
Can you teach others to be a Templar?
I already said I wouldn't. The answer is still no.
Yeah, fair enough. Alright. Leliana, you divulged your heart to me earlier.
Yes? Something you need?
I'd like to talk to you about something, Leliana.
Yes? What's on your mind?
You are a traveling minstrel. Do you have any new tales to share?
Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think.
Let's see. Tell me about Darkspawn.
Chantry law says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin. And it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris.
That was very nice. Let's just move on. Alright. I guess there wasn't anything else new there. Sten?
Yes.
I have a question for you, Sten. What exactly were you doing in that cage again?
Sitting, as you observed.
That's, well, do you have to be just so literal?
No, it's a choice, not a necessity.
Are you going to answer my question?
I did. Parshera, was there anything else?
I have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Actually, well, never mind.
Very well.
I wanted to discuss something that you mentioned.
Speak, then.
Just kidding, that's enough for now.
Then I suggest we move on.
Let's go.
As you wish.
Alright, not too much to talk with you guys yet. And how about Morrigan? Save that quick.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something, Morrigan.
If you must.
Did you grow up in the Korkari Wilds? Haven't I asked this already?
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
You can probe me anytime.
Beg pardon then while I jump for joy. What is it you asked if I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
But you kept going back to the wilds.
Would you not do the same? Your world is an unforgiving and cold place. The wilds I hail from is home to me, and I a natural denizen. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
Very daring. That sounds like you.
Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be traveling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
That was quick thinking.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting?
Touching like a handshake?
To begin with, yes. What is the point of touching my hand? I find it an offensive intrusion. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes. How to eat at a table. How to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
You can go back if you like.
I have no qualm with the mission I have been set to. Flemeth was correct, like it or not. The Darkspawn are an enemy of all. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
Alright, Morgan's approving again. Her approval is at 9.
Yes?
So, life in the wilds must have been very lonely.
At times, perhaps. A world full of people and buildings and things was all very foreign to me. If I wished companionship, I ran with the wolves and flew with the birds. If I spoke, 'twas to the trees.
And did they speak back?
Don't be foolish. I recall the first time I crept beyond the edge of the wilds. I did so in animal form, remaining in the shadows and watching these strange townsfolk from afar. I happened upon a noblewoman by her carriage, adorned in sparkling garments, the likes of which I had never before seen. I was dazzled. This, to me, seemed what true wealth and beauty must be. I snuck up behind her and stole a hand mirror from the carriage. 'Twas encrusted in gold and crystalline gemstones, and I hugged it to my chest with delight as I sped back to the wilds.
What happened then?
Flemeth was furious with me. I was a child and had not yet come into my full power, and I had risked discovery for the sake of a pretty bauble. To teach me a lesson, Flemeth took the mirror and smashed it upon the ground. I was heartbroken.
But you were just a child.
And a foolish one. Flemeth was right to break me of my fascination. Beauty and love are fleeting and have no meaning. Survival has meaning. Power has meaning. Without those lessons, I would not be here today, as difficult as they might have been.
They made you stronger, didn't they?
They did indeed. To return to your original question, perhaps my time in the wilds was indeed lonely, but such was how it had to be. I find myself at times wondering what might have become of the girl with the beautiful golden mirror, but such fantasies have no place amidst reality.
Alright. What more do you have to divulge to us?
Yes?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
Never mind.
Yes?
I'd like to discuss something personal.
We're in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any.
Oh. I don't think we're quite ready to be that personal. Never mind. Morgan might approve of us, but only by 13. Interesting. You're not listed as neutral? Right, approval's +8 neutral. Approval +13. Interesting. Liliana is at interested. Oh, she's interested. Alright, do we have any other gifts to give away? Painted Sky Ball, Legacy White Shear, Golden Scythe, 490 black. Alright. Okay, so that was pretty productive. And you, Emissary Karen.
You witnessed the rarest of things, Warden. The Dalish stand ready to defend Ferelden.
Excellent. You're sure they will fully commit?
I would not insult them by asking. Word was given, and that is all that needs to be said.
Okay. I guess he's our emissary from the Dalish. Allied supply crates. A communal box for the resources you've collected for your troops. Turn in crafting materials for the Dalish. Pack rattles with various items. Oh, give all elf roots, deep mushrooms, or death roots. Let's leave for the moment. I would really like it if... Morrigan, can you do some crafting for me? No. Wait. Morrigan, can you do some crafting for me? Oh, only main character is active while in camp. Alright, well... skills, spells and talents, journal, map tactics, change party, character record. Yeah, I don't think it's on any of those. Okay. Yeah, let's turn in some crafting material. Let's turn in all of our elf roots. There's a lot of those. I'm not sure what this does. I'll be honest. I don't remember any of this before. Alright, we'll leave.
Generous as always, Warden.
Okay. Yes, now we don't have any elf root. It might have been a little mistake, but I need some to make the health poultices, I'm pretty sure. And I'm in dire need of those. Speaking of which, let's see Bowden.
If there's anything I can do for you, please, please tell me.
Oh, hey, there's some new conversation options. But where do these goods come from? Not the deep roads, for sure.
Look, we don't rob people, all right? We don't take things from people that need them. The things in the Lost Tides, what good did they do lying there? I brought them back to Orzammar, where people could look at them and remember. It's not all that different up here. There are places long abandoned by the humans everywhere. Even more now with the Darkspawn coming.
What do you mean?
People flee from the Blight with good reason, but they forget things. Things with value and meaning. They leave them behind because they're frightened and desperate. And sometimes, my boy and I, we find our way to these places before the Horde descends, and we save these things. I take them away so the Darkspawn don't get them. Is that so bad? They destroy everything they touch.
I suppose it's better than having the Darkspawn take it all.
That's what I tell myself, too. Ah, these are dark times indeed. Dark times, my friend.
Alright, let me see your wares.
I'm sure you'll be pleased.
Do you have any elf root crafting? No. Other? You do not appear to have any elf root. Interesting. Alright. Well, this seems like a good place to stop for the moment. As we've spoken with everybody in our camp here. Yeah, and we will continue forward next time. So thanks everybody for coming along with me. And until the next one, have a good one everyone. Bye all.